The biggest bump I see for financial advisors coming on down the road is this huge wealth transfer that's going to happen as the baby boomers pass on and all their wealth goes to the next generation. One of the biggest challenges for advisors is going to be the advisor for the next generation. I think that a lot of the current advisors spent their time building their book over the last 30 years and they're kind of coasting. And they've been working with the parents and they've gotten to know the parents over the last 30 years. And they're just expecting that because they've worked with the parents for 30 years, that when the wealth goes to the next generation, oh yeah, of course they're going to pick up the phone and say, hey, this is so-and-so, I've been working with your parents for 30 years. When are you going to bring that $1 million over here and I'll help you invest it? And they're going to be flabbergasted by how many times people are going to go, no, I'm going to do my own thing. I mean, the statistics are out there. There's a lot of different ways of slicing the pie here, but the reality is it is not a given that the money that is being transferred to the next generation is going to be managed by the same people who are managing it right now. And if advisors aren't planning for that and have plans in place to manage that process, they will become obsolete super, super fast. There's a few key ways that advisors right now can prevent the loss of their book through wealth transfer to the next generation. And specifically, there's a few things around communication and digital communication, social media. I think this is actually one of the big places where social media does have relevance. It's not necessarily communicating directly with customers, but it's about making sure that you're getting connected with the next generation, right? With the younger generation, because that's how they are expecting to be communicated with. If you're expecting to give a call to somebody's beneficiary, for example, let's say there's a life insurance beneficiary, their child, and you're expecting to call them and they're going to pick up the phone, they're not, right? So even just that simple scenario shows you that you have to look at the other ways of communicating. So I think the first step is just to get comfortable with it. I think change is uncomfortable for everybody, but it's important, right? I think there's a wonderful saying, if you don't like change, you'll like obsolescence even less, right? So I think one of the things is just, it's comfort. It's whether it's using your smartphone more, whether it's getting used to texting. I love when people still complain about texting. It's here, it's not going away. Nobody's gonna stop just because you don't like it. So getting comfortable with that, getting comfortable with tools like LinkedIn and Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and Pinterest. Does that mean you have to know how to do all of those? No, but you have to be comfortable with them. And then the next step is really looking to connect with that younger generation. A very easy thing to do is to go, okay, I've got customers, Mr. and Mrs. Smith in front of me. Who are their kids? Now, of course, I took that information down when I was trying to sell them life insurance 20 years ago. Well, guess what? 20 years ago, they're 21, they're 22, they're 25, saying, hey, you know what? Would love to connect with that person. And by the way, it's not going to be, I'd like their phone number, or their snail mail address. It's, hey, I'm going to connect on LinkedIn, right? I remember that I used to get a birthday card from my father's life insurance agent, right, when I was growing up. And the equivalent now would be going, hey, I'm going to connect with you on Twitter, or I'm going to connect with you on LinkedIn, and just simply saying, hey, I've been working with your parents, would love to stay connected with you. If there's anything I can ever do, please let me know. So the goal really is to connect with that next generation now, right? Not 2, 3, 5, 10 years from now when you're just making that outreach saying, hey, I'm sorry to hear about your parents, but I'd love to manage your money. Start the relationship now and use these tools so that you are ready to be that trusted advisor and you've already found a place in their mind as the trusted advisor when you do make that call, when you do send that email. That's what I think advisors need to be doing right now. One of the things that financial professionals ask me all the time is, how do I become viewed as a trusted advisor? How do I really use these new social media tools to build a presence? I think there's actually a lot of disservice done in the industry because you have a lot of very well-known and very skilled and talented and competent professionals saying you have to be a thought leader and you have to be, the expert in your field. And we can't have thousands and thousands and thousands of leaders in the field. But that doesn't mean you can't be an expert and a trusted advisor for the people that you work with. I think there's a couple things. One is when you're sharing content, really decide what the core is of that content. It can be around, obviously, financial information or financial products and services. But for example, I have an advisor I've worked with who really focuses on working with divorcees. And so he shares a lot of content, obviously, around financial products, about different financial strategies, but he also shares a lot of information about the world of the divorcee. And he'll share information that he's found from different sources on the psychology and the lifestyle and different emotional help or whatever you would think, how to raise children as a divorcee. You might go, what does that have to do with financial planning for divorcees? Nothing. But he's now planted himself as a mind, hey, I'm a guy who you can talk to and go to about information about the challenges you have when you're divorced. So boom, everybody goes to him. It's also about listening, right? So a lot of times we get excited about being able to share content. It's also about really just being able to listen. One of the great examples is there's the old movie Maverick. And it has Mel Gibson as a professional gambler. And right in the first game he plays in the beginning of the movie, he sits down at the table and he goes, can I play? And they go, no. He goes, I promise to lose for an hour. And they go, sit on down. And he loses for an hour, right? But then what he's doing is he's learning all their tells, right? So he's getting to know the people at the table. And of course, he starts winning. In the same way, I think that there's tons of value that can be gained by just listening in. Because it's not only about being an expert at what you do, but it's also about being an expert in those relationships. I was talking with another advisor who didn't actually post a lot on LinkedIn, and that's why we were talking. We were trying to help him with his content sharing. But he was really good at paying attention to what was happening in his network. And on LinkedIn, he actually saw one of his clients had lost their job and then got another job. And then all he did was send out a quick message when he got that new job. Hey, so happy to see that you landed on your feet. It looks like you're in a better role right now. Congratulations. That was it. 6 months later, he gets a phone call. Hey, you know what? All my 401k stuff just came, all my forms came so I can transfer over. I have no idea what to do here. Can we have a meeting? Right? And so, I mean, it's so powerful. So again, it's not just about being an expert at what you do, but it's really about being an expert on the people that you're interacting with. And those are some of the ways I think that you can really use social media.